I think.
Okay.
Hello, we're here.
We
It's
are.
another Thursday night. It's very exciting. Lovely to see you girls.
I know. I got delayed in another meeting, and I'm looking at the time, going, oh my god, and then I thought I've got no time to do my hair or my makeup, and I thought, well, this is actually the real face of working at home. Although, Marina, you always look glamorous. How do you do that? It's just not fair.
She just gets out of bed that way.
Can I show you, ladies?
Yeah.
I've got this in front of me. See that?
Oh, okay,
It's like
fair enough.
trickery. It's like photography trickery.
That's not fair.
And no, I'm not looking at myself in the mirror, but I've got it there because apparently light is a friend to wrinkles.
It's a friend, really?
So that's why I'm in front of the light to try and diffuse my wrinkles.
Yeah.
Very vain. So how's your week's been, ladies? What's been going on?
I've actually had like a really crazy week, but a good week. But look, I just have to tell you, quick little story. It just comes to mind as I'm looking at Michelle. So Michelle, you've got a virtual background, okay?
You mean I'm not floating down a lake? Okay.
No, you're not at the moment. But the other day, and this is coming back to one of the things I do when I work from home, because I just find like no noise, it actually really doesn't help me. So I like to have a bit of noise in the background. And I was working in the lounge room, which is where I am now. And I clicked on Netflix and I just put it on quietly, and I picked Jaws 3. I'm telling you, anyone that's seen it, really, it's on Netflix at the moment, but you can click on there and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you look then at Michelle. They've got some, I don't know what you would call them, Marina, like effects of the shark chasing them, and it's got the same sort of outline that is around you, Michelle. You can go down. You just have to go and look. So if anyone is watching this, look onto Jaws 3. It's on Netflix at the moment, and like fast forward towards the end where it all gets quite gruesome and they have all these little chases, and you'll kill yourself laughing. It's hysterical.
Okay. I'm going to watch that tonight when we're finished, ladies.
Okay, all right, you do.
I have never seen any of the Jaws films.
Are you serious, Michelle?
No, it's just one of those things that just does not appeal to me at all.
So,
can I just say, you've now got to just go in, even if you just fast forward towards the end, you have to do it. And
I don't know if I can. I don't know. I'll think about it. I'll see how desperate I get this weekend. I'm supposed to be reading a book. I joined a book club. I've always wanted to be in a book club, right? You know, I couldn't be in Oprah's book club, but I wanted to be in a book club. And so the association that I'm in is starting a book club, and I have to read, oh dear, you can't see it with my background. But anyway, pretend it's really good. It's called The Forever Transaction. And so I have to read this book. Oh, there you go. I have to read this book before next Friday.
Okay.
oh,
So
wow.
I don't have time to watch Jaws. I've got to read a book.
Oh, well, do you know, every New Year's Day, my husband and I always sit down and watch Jaws. It's like a New Year's tradition, because every New Year, his whole family gets together and goes down the coast. And on the Vincentia, you know, the bay there, the water, and it reminds me of Jaws. So this year, because we couldn't go down the coast because of the bushfires, we just stayed home and watched Jaws. And I was like, I don't know, it's comforting. I find it really comforting. It's
really, that's interesting.
Not in a scary way, but it's one of those.
What exactly am I supposed to take away from this talk about Jaws? Like, what's the takeaway? What's the takeaway from the talk?
What's the takeaway talk for everyone? That when you're swimming, don't worry if you see a fin.
Jaws has nothing to do with it. We're just talking about the background that you got.
Okay, just checking. Just got to stay on topic here. Staying on topic, girl.
Before we leave it, because I know you know how good I am at keeping on topic. I remember when Jaws came out, and I would go swimming in the swimming pool, and it was an indoor council swimming pool. This is back in England, and I'd be swimming and I'd see the cracks in the bottom of the pool, and I'd start panicking that Jaws was going to get me. Go figure. Anyway, sorry. To get us back on track, Marie.
I'd make some comment about you being from England or something like that, but that wouldn't be appropriate.
No.
So we better move on. We better move on.
Well, because everyone's still in isolation, working from home, doing their bits and bobs, and we introduced ourselves last week. this week I thought what would be really nice to talk about is, amongst all the chaos and fear, let's talk about random acts of kindness. And have you guys got any stories to share? I've actually got a really nice story to share, but I was going to leave mine a little bit later, but I did want to introduce it and say, just introduce it with a quote and say, you've not lived until you've done something for someone who can never repay you. And that quote is by John Bunyan.
Oh,
so,
nice. Yeah, that's
so
awesome.
who wants to start first? Who's witnessed some random acts of kindness in the past week or a few weeks? Who should I start with, Michelle or Kath?
Well, I was going to say it's a little bit hard to witness random acts of kindness when you're working at home. Here's the closest I've gotten. I found a new show, speaking of Jaws, and this is probably going to take us off topic again, but I've been watching on YouTube Some Good News with John Krasinski. Have you seen it? You have to watch it. It is so good. So he puts together just this short little YouTube clip each week, and he shows people doing good things for others. And so I've been catching a few things, you know, on the news and that kind of stuff, and seeing people doing good things for each other. But I've loved watching Some Good News. It makes me cry every week. They're just such beautiful things that people are doing. And I mean, even the Uber ad. Have you seen the Uber ad on TV? Where it's got obviously a husband that can't be with his wife, and they must be in their 80s or older. And you know, they're sort of standing with a door between them, holding their hands together. I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. So that's not really a random act of kindness, but I just thought it just made me think of that. My closest example is my girlfriend Lydia, who made cinnamon scrolls. I think I shared this last week. She made cinnamon scrolls for her neighbour who had surgery. Now, what's so special about that is that Lydia's a nurse in one of our local hospitals on the front lines, and on her day off, she comes home and she makes food for other people who are struggling and in need. And I just think she's one of the most amazing, amazing people. I mean, there's a clear reason she's a nurse, and she just does such lovely, lovely things. So, yeah.
Can I just say, Michelle, like, I just have to say, you have been very kind. You are by nature a very kind and generous person. This week I had some work coming up, and I had to do a submission, and I flicked it over and I just touched base with Michelle. And as always, Michelle instantly answers and comes, you know, to support me, which is what you do. And I remember it was like 10 o'clock at night on a Sunday night that I'm there typing away, and I flicked it over to Michelle because she'd said, look, you know, flick it over to me and I'll have a look. And she actually responded that night. And I mean, so Michelle, you know, you might not call it a random act of kindness, but I actually think that is it was a very nice act to do, you know.
Wow.
And you actually won the tender, right? You actually got the gig.
What? You got the tender.
You won the tender.
Yeah, I did.
So clearly,
that is awesome.
Clearly, it was all because of me.
Yeah. But you know what? That's why though, because sometimes, like when we think that, you know, like a random. Sorry, my little puppy's here now. Like a random act of kindness has to be something that's difficult. I just think sometimes just by being a friend and being generous with your time, and Michelle, you do that. You really do.
Yeah, Michelle's always on her emails.
I know.
You never stops. You never stop. But I have to say, if there is someone that'll get back to you, Michelle's better at getting back to me than you are, Kath.
Well, that's not a very nice act of kindness, is it?
I'm rubbing it in there a little bit. No.
Well, actually, I mean, you girls know that I speak, you know, in my public speaking, I speak about capacity building.
Yeah.
And one of the best capacity builders that you have is to actually act and to actually, you know, take action. And I think too often we don't take action, and then we wonder why we can't fit more in.
Yeah.
And that's because we make things bigger than they are. So reading a document and answering an email and giving a few suggestions, to me, is fairly simple and fairly easy. And it means that I'm not going to go to bed that night and I'm going to think about it and think, now what should I tell Kathy? And, you know, I'm going to think and think and think on it. And I'm going to potentially blow something up into a much bigger problem or a much, you know, bigger need than it is. And so I think that by quickly actioning items, we actually build a capacity within ourselves. So whether that's acts of kindness or whether that's work related or personally, you know, sometimes it's easier just to do that thing, take that act, and actually you will find it builds something within you that means that all of a sudden you can do more and do more and do more. So I'm definitely in the, not the category that says switch off at 7 o'clock and don't do emails at night, because that would give me way more stress than actually doing the email.
Actually, just on that, you're totally right, Michelle, in what you're saying. I think sometimes we overthink it. Like, I know I'm brilliant at analysing, chewing over and reasoning, and then by the end of it, you haven't done anything. And one of the things I found I've done this week is I haven't actually thought about what I've needed to do. I've just actually eliminated that negotiation in my mind, and I've just done it. So, for example, you know, I'm writing these books, and I'm brilliant at thinking of ideas in my head and creating, but then when putting pen to paper, there's always a legitimate reason. And so this week, I actually haven't thought about it. I've just opened my laptop and started typing. And so you're exactly right, Michelle. You just don't think about it, overthink it, just put some action in place. And suddenly you're doing something, and you're not then going to bed worrying about, oh no, I didn't reply to Marina, she's going to come after me. Or
although that might be true. That might still be true.
Don't worry, I'll chase you if I need to. And I'm relentless. But it's so true, both of you mentioning just acting on it, because I, like you, Kathy, I actually love writing, and sometimes I get gripped by fear. And I think, oh no, what am I doing this right? And then I overthink it, and then I don't do anything. I'm sitting there in front of the computer for like 3 hours and I haven't written a sentence. And because Michelle challenged us last week, I can't remember if it was you, Kathy, or Michelle, to write a blog each week about what we're going to be talking about. I've already started, I'm 3/4 through my blog for the Random Act of Kindness, and I'm going to kind of look at my notes when I'm talking about some of the things that I think make a difference to people. And I've noticed just acting on it and doing it, just do it, has made a huge difference. And as I've just stepped out and done it, not thought about it, it's just come, and I just don't want to stop. And it's really, it's been very, very good. So credit to you lovely ladies, you know, for inspiring me in that sense. And was there anything else you wanted to share, Kathy, about?
Actually, what you just said is a really good segue into something I wanted to share about Random Acts of Kindness, about don't think too much about it, just do it. I think I might have shared with you girls a couple of weeks ago, I was in a shopping line, and everyone's doing that social distancing, and I'm just in my own little, I'm in my social bubble in my head. And then I kind of noticed as I got closer to it, there was this lady, she was taking a long time at the checkout. And then when I zoned back in, I realized that she had a lot of coins, and I looked at it, and that's perfectly fine. She might have just been clearing out the coin jar, or she may not have been. And I just, I looked at her and I thought, oh, I want to help her. What can I do? But by the time I got my thought together, it was my turn. And so I said to my husband, I'll just get some cash out. And he goes, why? And he goes, because I just want to chase that lady down and give her some money, you know. But by the time I went through all that, she was gone. I couldn't even remember what she looked like. And then when I looked back, I thought, why didn't I just go tap, done and dusted, you're right. And that's where it comes to. I was thinking too much about it. And then it reminded me of another time when I was in a queue, same sort of thing. There was a lady in front of me and she was trying to tap her card just to buy a cup of coffee. The dog had chewed it, so it wasn't working.
Oh no!
Right? Yeah, and so I just went, here you go, and I tapped, and she went, oh, and I said, just pay it forward. And I think that's the difference. Is when we think too much about it, we end up doing nothing.
Yeah,
we've missed the moment rather than just going, it's okay, you know, and just acting on it. I mean, you can't do that in every situation, but it was a learning curve for me, because I have not had or found myself in a position to do that again. Whereas, you know, and I'm like waiting for that moment where I can, you know, do something.
I'm happy for you to take me out for coffee and tap your card anytime you like, Kath.
I'll love to be there.
I can't drive all the way to you. I'll get pulled over, and then what do I say to the policeman?
It's true. When we're allowed out.
Yeah.
When we're allowed on day release.
That's right. Day release. Like the kids that can go to school for 1 day a week, they're on day release. It's too funny.
Yes.
Anyway, we're not getting
well, you know what? Kathy, your story, because you chased down that lady and wanted to give her some money. I was in a position where I was at a local cafe literally down the road, and I was waiting, like I was 1.5 meters behind this guy who was trying to pay for his coffee, and he was looking for change, and I could see all he needed was 10 cents. So I pull out my 10 cents. It was 10 cents. And I say, "Here, take my 10 cents." And he goes, "Oh no, it's okay." So he didn't want to take it from me. I'm like, "Oh, okay." So, but regarding, random acts of kindness, it's just a simple act, and it can be as simple as, paying for someone's coffee that's waiting behind you in a line, and you don't even say anything, and then when they go up to pay, the person at the counter says, "Oh, they paid for your coffee." And it could be as simple as, a person that works all the time, and you mow their lawn for them. They come home to a mowed lawn, and they have no idea who's done it. Or having someone, maybe there's a friend that has lost their job, and you're in a position to buy them groceries, and you leave groceries at their front door, and they come home and they're completely blessed. And it's just those little random acts of kindness. And one of the things I absolutely love about random acts of kindness, like I'm a giver, girls. Like my favorite thing is I love buying people gifts.
Oh, really?
Especially when I know what to buy them.
Oh, I'll remember that one.
Yeah, and I really do. So it's good that you're my friend, because I love the whole process. I love finding something I'm going to love wrapping. I love the whole process. But when you give that gift and they know that gift is from you, you've got your reward, because they say thank you. You see how happy they are. And it's beautiful. And, you walk away and you think, oh, they liked my gift. You feel happy. Yeah. But one of the things that I really love, and I've discovered that recently, is actually giving and them not knowing that it's you, and you've surprised someone and they have no idea it's you, and it's a different kettle of fish. It puts you in a different mind frame, and the elation that you feel yourself by doing that act is, you can't even explain it. It's better than any drug that you could take. It's, if you've ever taken drugs, it's the elation lasts. That was in my past life.
Yeah,
but
right.
The elation lasts for weeks and months, but the person that's on the receiving end, they will never ever forget that. Yeah. Because they'll be thinking, who did this for me? And to give you an idea, I was working with a young chef who's been doing some filming at the back here, and for our live streamer, site, he was basically saying him and his wife went through a stage where they weren't well financially. I think they were out of work. And for 6 weeks, every Saturday night, a delivery person would deliver pizza to them. Wow. For 6 weeks in a row, they were eating delicious pizza, and they had no idea who it was from. But he said that he'd never, ever forget that random act of kindness. He knew it was someone that knew they were going through something, but he had no idea who it was. And, one of the stories, I'll tell you one story, and I'm not sharing this to say, look how good I am, because it didn't cost a lot of money. My husband and I weren't in a financial position to do anything special for this person, but a neighbour down the road was going through a rough trot physically, and it affected their finances. And for some reason, I'd walk down my neighbourhood, and I noticed his rusty old letterbox. It was really rusting away. And I understood that predicament, because I had a rusty letterbox as well. And I just, one of those things you just don't do. And then one day you think, I better replace it. So I bought this cheap beige letterbox that didn't really suit my house for like $25 from Bunnings. And we didn't end up using it. It just got left in my laundry, and I forgot about it. And then one day I was cleaning out my laundry, and I found that letterbox again. And it was like this pressing desire or need. And it was like this thing in my head or heart said, give that letterbox to your neighbour, because his house was the same colour as the letterbox. And so I went to Bunnings and spent an extra $10 on getting no junk mail sign, and got his number, stuck it there. And I thought, I'll sneak over, because I didn't want him to know it was me. So I went at 11:30 at night. It was in summer. It was dark, and I knew they were still up because I could hear their TV on. And as I'm going up the stairs to place it near the door, I didn't know they had sensor lights. The sensor lights came on, and I'm like, oh, crap. So I dumped the letterbox, and I'm running up the road, and I ran into the house, went to the spare room, and I could see their shadow, and I could hear them talking because some of the windows were, and I could hear them going, someone left a letterbox. Oh my goodness, look at this. And I could see their shadow, and they were blown away. Anyway, my heart was pumping. I felt like a criminal, but I was doing something good, not bad. But my heart was pumping with anticipation and excitement. And anyway, I went to bed with a smile on my face and got up early to go for my normal walk. Completely forgot that I'd done that. And coming down the hill, it was 7 o'clock in the morning. The whole family was gathered around their letterbox, and they were putting the new letterbox in. And I couldn't stop smiling. And I was going down the hill, and I'm thinking, oh no, don't say anything. I didn't want to say anything. And so I got down towards them, and they're waving at me. And I go, hey, how you going? And they go, someone gave us a letterbox. And I said, what? I acted like I had no idea. And I said, but the look on their faces, it will forever be in my heart. They were so filled with joy. And I said, what do you mean someone gave you a letterbox? And they said, someone left this on our doorstep last night. And I could see some woman running up the road. And I had to hold back from laughing my head off and they said, who would do such a thing? And I said, maybe someone that wanted to just bless you. And then he piped up and he said, oh, maybe they were offended by our rusty letterbox. And I just started laughing, and he said, why wouldn't they just give it to us? And I just said, maybe they just wanted to do it in secret. But they were so happy, and they will never forget that. And for weeks on end, they would continue to talk about it. And the letterbox suits their place. It looks beautiful. And I know it just fills my heart. And I'm not saying that to say, look how cool I am. I'm saying that to say, by doing something that somebody isn't aware of, and you can bless them, they'll never forget it. It's just incredible.
You know what, Marina? It's a really, really good point you make. That I think is one thing I think some of us can struggle is, how do you help someone or bless someone without embarrassing them?
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of people go, oh, I want to help, but I don't want to offend them. And I think it's something in our society is where we don't say something because, it's the British stiff upper lip, I think we say, you don't say anything because you don't want to offend and so you don't. But by doing exactly that kind of strategy, it's a brilliant strategy, and it stops anyone sort of getting embarrassed or anything like that. Michelle joined me up or invited me to, what's that site you connected me with on Facebook, Michelle? It's like
Acts of Kindness. There's a Facebook group now.
Yeah.
COVID random acts of kindness.
Yeah. But I was reading one today, and there's this guy, and he's from the event industry, and he was talking about how he hasn't had work since March, because we all know like the event industry's been hit really badly, and somebody left $40 in his letterbox. So when you started talking about letterbox, I thought about this guy, and he just said, you know what, it might not seem like a lot of money, but that's buying his groceries. And he just said it was so nice that someone was so kind.
Is this it?
That's it. I think that's it. There's like millions of people in it or something.
Okay, I'm joining it too.
Yeah, it's just, really, really, really lovely. Because you're right, there is something about doing it, and you don't have to grandstand yourself, but you're still helping someone. Yeah,
I know. And do you know what's really good? It just brings positivity, and it brings hope into the world, because I know these past couple of months have been quite stressful for a lot of people, and people have been not in a good place mentally. And when you do something like that and you step out and do something that will leave a mark on someone's life, that's irreplaceable.
Yeah, and I think there's a randomness about it. There's the two things. You can do the one that's the secret and the surprise kind of component, or there's actually just things that you can do for people that where you can actually premeditate to do that good, good work or that act of kindness. And so, there's random acts where you decide on the spur of the moment because you feel led to do that. Or there's actually acts of kindness that you can actually plan to do. A little bit like you planned your letterbox. But that could be looking after people. It can be actually thinking about now, who could I do something nice for and what could that be? And I will go and do that.
Yeah.
I will go out of my way to do that act of kindness.
Yeah. And it doesn't need to be a financial thing, does it? Because there's so much stress on so many households at the moment financially. But one thing possibly that we've got a little bit more of is time, because, you're not commuting perhaps, and to, feed that in. Like you said, you could mow someone's lawn, or you could put out their garbage bin.
Dog.
Yeah. Not your dog, Michelle, sorry.
Not my dog.
Michelle's just got the most
like if somebody else could walk my dog.
You could walk my dog. Look, here she is. There's Daisy.
I just always that dog. That's just a dog you can throw or something.
Yes.
Kathy, you always find an opportunity to show us your dog. I love it. So ladies, I'd say I want to end with another quote, because I love my quotes. And this one's by Theodore Roosevelt. Do what you can with what you have where you are.
Great.
And it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't have to cost a lot. That letterbox with the numbers and the no junk mail, all up $35. That was nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing for me, but something for someone else. And it, like you said, Michelle, it's the little things.
That's right.
Kathy, time.
That's right.
Answering emails.
Yes. Answer emails. I'm telling you, it is one of my biggest bugbears. I was talking to somebody on the phone today about it, and I'm like, how hard is it to answer an email? Like, why do I have to send you two to get you to answer the one email? It's not
maybe they don't want to. Maybe there's a message in there. And thank you so much for bringing it back to this point, Marina. Love you. Maybe they don't want to talk to you, Michelle. Maybe they're hiding from you. Have you thought about that?
No, don't unsubscribe from us though.
No,
but I think that, for me, an act of kindness would be to answer my emails. That's just for all those out there who don't answer my emails.
Okay, for me?
No, I'm not talking about you girls. Of course not you girls. No.
Okay, Kathy, for you, what's a random act of kindness for you? What would get you going? Like,
I don't know.
For Michelle, it's answering emails. For you, if you don't know, I'll tell you mine.
Yeah.
Food.
Just give you food.
Just give me food.
Just send food.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? When you said that, I was going to say food, but I thought, well, how can that be a random act of kindness? But yeah. Or coming and cleaning my house. My daughter does that. My daughter does that. She does that.
That's good, because I'm never going to. No, I love you, but I'm not going to clean the house.
No, you're not coming to my house to clean.
Clearly not that kind. Clearly not.
When I travel, so if I'm traveling for work, my daughter will say, it's okay, Mum, I'm going to the house, I'm going to clean up, ready for you to come home. Isn't she gorgeous?
That's lovely.
I've just got to get her to actually come to the house when I'm here so she can clean while I'm home. But she does it, I think, as a response, knowing that it's actually Jeff will go crazy if he hears this. He's very clean, isn't he? Yes, he's very tidy. Yeah.
Well, girls, thank you so much for your time. Thank you to anyone that's listening, and our website is up. If you've got any questions, flick us an email, subscribe to Takeaway Talk, and you can email us talk@takeawaytalk.com. And I don't know what we're going to talk about next week, but I did kind of write down some ideas, and I think you mentioned something.
Motivation. I want to talk about motivation.
How to get motivation.
Because by next week, I'll have been home for 6 weeks, maybe 7 or something. How do I keep getting out of bed and walking 3 paces to my desk and then, back again? And how do I keep that motivation going? That's what I want to talk about.
Just pretend that the desk is made of a giant mound of chocolate.
Okay, that would be very nice. So until next week, I'm Michelle with Marina and Kathy. We'll talk to you then.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.